A mother heard a female voice screaming stop in her empty car. Her 3 children were asleep in the back. There was no one else there. She hit the brakes against every instinct. 5 seconds later, what happened left everyone speechless. This is the story of the voice that saved 3 innocent lives, and the mother who learned that miracles happen when we trust what we cannot explain. But before we continue, leave a comment saying where you are watching from and what time it is there right now. I would love to see how far the miracles of the Virgin Mary are reaching. Jessica Morgan was 31 years old and felt like she was drowning, not in water, in life, in responsibility, in exhaustion. She was a single mother with 3 children. Emma was 8, Lucas was 5, and baby Olivia was only 18 months old. Their father, Michael, had left 2 years ago, just walked out one day and never came back. No warning, no explanation, no child support, nothing. Jessica was left alone with 3 kids, a mortgage she could barely afford, and a job as a medical receptionist that paid just enough to survive, but never enough to really live. Every morning was the same. Wake up at 5:30, get herself ready, wake Emma and Lucas, make breakfast while Olivia cried in her high chair, pack lunches, get everyone dressed, drive Emma to school, drop Lucas at daycare, drop Olivia at the babysitter's house, rush to work 8 hours answering phones and dealing with frustrated patients and demanding doctors, pick up Olivia, pick up Lucas, pick up Emma, go home, make dinner, help with homework, give baths, read stories, put everyone to bed, clean the kitchen, do laundry, fall into bed exhausted, then wake up and do it all again. Jessica had no family nearby. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was 25. She was an only child. Michael's family wanted nothing to do with her or the kids after he left. Friends? What friends? She had no time for friends, no time for herself, no time to think, no time to breathe. She was just surviving, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time. The worst part was not the physical exhaustion, it was the loneliness, the crushing weight of being completely responsible for 3 small humans with no one to help, no one to talk to, no one to lean on when things got hard. Jessica would lie awake at night after the kids were asleep and cry quietly into her pillow so they would not hear. She cried from exhaustion, from loneliness, from fear that she was failing them, that she was not enough, that she could not do this alone. She had stopped praying years ago. She grew up Catholic, went to church every Sunday as a child, made her first communion, got confirmed. But when Michael left and she found herself alone with 3 children and no help, her faith crumbled. Where was God then? Where was God when she was working 2 jobs and still could not pay all the bills? Where was God when Emma cried because she wanted a father? Where was God when Jessica had to choose between fixing the car or buying winter coats for the kids? If God existed, he had forgotten about her. So she stopped asking, stopped praying, stopped believing. But her children believed. Emma went to a Catholic school that offered financial aid. Every night before bed, Emma knelt beside her bed and prayed. She prayed for her mom. She prayed for Lucas and Olivia. She prayed that their dad would come back. Jessica watched her daughter pray and felt something break inside. Such innocent faith, such pure hope. Jessica wished she could believe like that again, but she was too tired, too broken, too angry. It was a Tuesday in early November, cold but not yet snowing. Jessica had the day off work, a rare gift. She decided to take the kids to visit her friend Sarah, who lived 3 hours away in rural Wyoming. Sarah was one of Jessica's last remaining friends from before Michael left. She had offered many times to help, but the distance made it difficult. Jessica packed the car the night before, clothes, snacks, toys for the kids, Olivia's diapers, and formula. Everything they would need for the overnight trip. They left at 7 in the morning. Emma and Lucas were excited. They loved going on trips. They loved Aunt Sarah, who always had cookies and let them watch cartoons. Olivia was strapped in her car seat, babbling happily. Jessica felt lighter than she had in months. Maybe this little trip was exactly what they needed. A break from routine. A chance to breathe. A chance to feel normal for a day or two. The drive was beautiful. Mountains in the distance. Open roads. Clear blue sky. The first 2 hours went smoothly. Emma read books in the back seat. Lucas played with his toy cars. Olivia fell asleep. Jessica listened to music and let her mind wander. She thought about her life, about how hard everything was, but also about her 3 beautiful children. They were healthy. They were happy despite everything. They had each other. Maybe that was enough. Maybe she was doing better than she thought. They stopped at a gas station at the 2-hour mark. Jessica filled up the tank. She bought snacks for the kids. She changed Olivia's diaper. They used the bathroom, stretched their legs. Lucas ran around the parking lot burning off energy. Emma helped Jessica put Olivia back in her car seat. Within 15 minutes, they were back on the road. 1 more hour, and they would be at Sarah's house. Easy. The road became more rural, fewer cars, longer stretches between towns, mountains on both sides. The scenery was stunning. Jessica had driven this route many times. She knew it well. It was safe, well maintained, nothing to worry about. Emma fell asleep in the back seat. Lucas was quiet, looking out the window. Olivia was sleeping peacefully. Jessica felt calm, peaceful. For the first time in a long time, she felt okay. And then it happened. Jessica was driving the speed limit, 55 miles per hour. The road was straight. Visibility was perfect. Nothing unusual ahead. But suddenly the temperature inside the car changed. It went from cool to warm. Not from the heater. Jessica had not touched the controls. It was a different kind of warmth. Gentle, encompassing, like being wrapped in a blanket. Jessica frowned. She reached for the temperature control to turn it down. But before her hand reached it, she smelled something. Roses. Fresh roses. Strong and sweet. As if someone had filled the car with bouquets. But there were no flowers. Nothing. Jessica looked around confused. Where was that smell coming from? She checked the air vents. Nothing. She looked in the back. The kids were still sleeping. No flowers, no air freshener, nothing that could explain the scent. Jessica felt her heart begin to beat faster. This was strange. This was wrong. And then she heard it. The voice. A woman's voice. Clear, urgent, loud. Stop the car now. Jessica's hands clenched the steering wheel. Her entire body went rigid. She looked to her right. Empty passenger seat. She looked in the rearview mirror. Just her 3 sleeping children. No one else. She looked forward again. Her mind raced. What was that? Who was that? Where did it come from? Stop the car now, Jessica. The voice came again, and this time Jessica noticed something that made her blood turn cold. The voice knew her name, and it was not coming from the radio. It was not coming from her phone. It was coming from everywhere and nowhere, inside her head, outside her head, all around her. Jessica felt terror grip her chest. This was not possible. People do not just hear voices. This was not real. She was stressed, exhausted. Maybe she was having a breakdown. Maybe she had finally cracked under the pressure. But the voice came a 3rd time, more urgent, almost screaming. Stop the car now, or your children will die. Stop now, Jessica. Now. Jessica's foot moved to the brake without her conscious decision. Her body acted before her mind could process. She slammed on the brakes, hard. The car screeched. The tires locked. Emma woke up screaming. Lucas cried out. Olivia started wailing. The car came to a complete stop in the middle of the road. Jessica sat there trembling. Her hands locked on the wheel, her foot still pressed on the brake. Her heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. "Mom, what happened?" Emma cried from the back seat. "Why did you stop like that?" Jessica could not answer. She could not speak, could not breathe. She stared ahead through the windshield. Nothing. Just empty road stretching into the distance. No other cars, no obstacles, no reason at all to have stopped. And then exactly 5 seconds after she stopped, it happened. The ground moved, not a little. The entire road ahead of Jessica's car buckled and collapsed. The pavement cracked with a sound like thunder. Huge chunks of asphalt fell away, revealing a massive sinkhole underneath. In less than 10 seconds, a section of road 50 feet long and 30 feet wide was just gone, swallowed by the earth. If Jessica had not stopped when she did, if she had continued at 55 miles per hour, her car would have driven straight into that void. She and her 3 children would have plunged into the darkness. No survivors. No chance. Just gone. Jessica sat frozen, unable to process what she was seeing. The sinkhole was deep. She could not see the bottom, just darkness, jagged rocks, broken pavement. Emma started crying harder. "Mom, what is that? What happened to the road?" Lucas was screaming, Olivia was wailing, and Jessica finally started to shake uncontrollably. She had stopped. She had stopped 5 seconds before death, 5 seconds before losing everything. How? How did she know? The voice, the woman's voice. "Stop the car now, or your children will die." Jessica felt tears streaming down her face. Who was that? Who warned her? How did they know? She unbuckled her seatbelt with shaking hands. She got out of the car on weak legs. She walked slowly toward the edge of the sinkhole. Other cars were stopping now, people getting out, staring in shock. Oh my God, look at that. When did that happen? Did anyone fall in? A man ran over to Jessica. "Ma'am, are you okay? Did you almost drive into that?" Jessica nodded, unable to speak. "How did you stop in time?" the man asked. "How did you know?" Jessica looked at him. Tears streaming, voice shaking. "Someone told me to stop. I heard a voice." The man frowned. "A voice? Was someone with you?" Jessica shook her head. "No, just me and my 3 kids. But I heard a voice, a woman's voice. She told me to stop. She told me if I did not stop, my children would die." The man looked at her with concern. "Maybe you should sit down. You are in shock. This is a miracle. You should have gone into that hole. There is no way you could have stopped in time unless you knew it was going to happen." "But how could you know? How could she know?" Jessica walked back to her car. Emma had gotten out and was standing by the door. "Mom, how did you know to stop?" Jessica knelt down and hugged her daughter tightly. "I do not know, baby. I do not know. But someone told me. Someone saved us." Within an hour, emergency crews arrived, police, fire trucks, news vans, engineers to assess the sinkhole. The road was closed, traffic rerouted. Jessica gave a statement to the police. She told them about the voice. They looked at her strangely, but wrote it down. "Trauma can make people hear things," one officer said gently. "You were very lucky, that is all." But Jessica knew it was not trauma. It was not luck. She had heard that voice as clearly as she was hearing the officer now. She smelled the roses. She felt the warmth. Something impossible had happened. Someone had warned her. Someone had saved her children. But who? Why? The news crews interviewed people at the scene. They filmed the sinkhole. They talked about the geological causes, erosion, underground water, unstable ground. They discussed how lucky it was that no one was hurt. But Jessica knew it was not luck. It was intervention. It was a miracle. Because the road had been closed, Jessica could not continue to Sarah's house. She had to turn back. The drive home took hours because of detours. The kids were quiet, shaken. Emma kept asking questions. "Mom, who told you to stop? Was it an angel? Was it God?" Jessica did not know how to answer. "I do not know, sweetheart. I do not know. But someone was watching over us today, someone who did not want us to get hurt." That night, after the kids were in bed, Jessica sat alone in the dark living room. She could not stop thinking about what had happened, the voice, the roses, the warmth, the impossible timing. If she had hesitated even 2 seconds, they would be dead, all of them, gone. She thought about Emma's prayers every night, the prayers Jessica had stopped believing in, the prayers she thought were pointless. Had someone been listening? Had Emma's innocent faith reached someone who answered when Jessica's cynicism could not? Jessica got up and walked to Emma's room. She opened the door quietly. Emma was asleep, her rosary beads on the nightstand. the same rosary Jessica had given her for First Communion. Emma prayed with those beads every single night. Jessica picked them up. The blue glass beads felt cool in her hand. She held them and felt something stir inside her, something she had not felt in years, not quite hope, not quite faith, but something, an opening, a crack in the wall she had built around her heart. Jessica walked downstairs to the basement. In a box of old things, she found her own rosary, the one she received for her First Communion when she was 7. She had not touched it in years. She took it out, held it. The beads felt familiar, comforting. She sat on the couch and just held them. She did not pray. She did not know how anymore, but she held them, and she cried. Deep, heaving sobs, tears of relief, tears of gratitude, tears of confusion, tears of awakening. The next morning, Jessica called Sarah and told her what happened. Sarah was horrified. "Oh my God, Jess, you could have died, all of you. How did you stop in time?" Jessica took a deep breath. "I heard a voice, Sarah. A woman's voice. She told me to stop." Sarah was silent for a moment. "A voice?" "Yes. Clear as I am hearing you now. She told me to stop or my children would die." And I stopped. And 5 seconds later, the road collapsed. Sarah's voice was soft. "Jess, do you know what I think it was?" Jessica whispered. "Tell me." "I think it was the Virgin Mary. I think she saved you." Jessica felt chills run down her spine. "The Virgin Mary," Sarah continued. "You know I pray to her every day." "I have been praying for you, Jess, praying that you would find peace, that you would be protected, that something would help you find your way back to faith. And yesterday, on my knees, I prayed specifically that your trip would be safe, that Mary would watch over you and the kids." "And she did, Jess," she answered. Jessica could not speak. She had not told anyone she used to pray to Mary when she was young, that Mary was her favorite, that she had a statue of Mary in her childhood bedroom. Sarah did not know that, but Mary knew. Mary remembered. If this story is touching your heart, do something for me right now. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the miracles that happen every day. And leave a comment telling me what you are feeling at this moment. I want to know that these stories are reaching people who need hope. Do it now before we continue. Jessica decided to visit a church. She had not been to Mass in over 2 years. But Sunday morning she got the kids ready and drove to St. Catherine's, the church where Emma went to school. They arrived late, slipping into a pew in the back. Emma was thrilled. "Mom, you came to church with me?" Lucas fidgeted. Olivia babbled. But Jessica sat there trying to absorb it. The familiar prayers, the hymns, the readings. And then, at the front of the church, she saw it. A statue of the Virgin Mary, smaller than life-size, painted in soft colors, blue robe, white veil, hands extended, serene face. Jessica stared at that statue. And in her mind, she heard the voice again. "Stop the car now, Jessica. Stop now or your children will die." She knew. Deep in her soul, she knew. That voice belonged to the woman in that statue, the Mother of God, the one who hears prayers, the one who intercedes, the one who had saved Jessica's children when Jessica herself had stopped believing. Tears fell down Jessica's face. Emma noticed. "Mom, are you okay?" Jessica nodded. "Yes, baby, I am more than okay." After Mass, Jessica approached the priest. Father Thomas was in his 60s, kind-faced, with white hair and gentle eyes. "Father, I need to talk to you." "Of course, my child. What is on your heart?" Jessica told him everything, the voice, the sinkhole, the impossible timing, the scent of roses, the warmth. Father Thomas listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Jessica, you have been given a profound gift. Not just the gift of your lives being saved, but the gift of knowing with absolute certainty that you are not alone, that you are loved, that you are watched over. This was the Blessed Mother." "I have no doubt." Jessica felt relief wash over her. "You believe me?" Father Thomas smiled. "My child, I have been a priest for 40 years. I have heard many stories, and I have learned to recognize when someone has truly encountered the divine. You did not imagine this. You did not hallucinate. You were saved by the Virgin Mary herself. The question now is, what will you do with this gift?" Jessica did not know. Father Thomas put a hand on her shoulder. "Let it change you. Let it soften the hardness in your heart. Let it bring you back to faith. Let it remind you that even in your darkest moments, even when you felt abandoned, you were never alone. She was always there, waiting, listening, ready to act when the moment came." Jessica started going to Mass every Sunday. She started praying again, not the mechanical prayers of her childhood. Real prayers, honest prayers, sometimes angry prayers, sometimes grateful prayers, sometimes desperate prayers, but always honest. She talked to Mary like a friend, like a mother, because that was what Mary was. A mother who understood, who cared, who watched over her children. Jessica began to feel peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from having no problems. She still had all the same struggles, bills, exhaustion, single parenting, but peace that comes from knowing you are not carrying it alone, that there is someone bigger, stronger, who is walking beside you. Emma noticed the change in her mother. "Mom, you seem different, happier." Jessica hugged her daughter. "I am, sweetheart, and it is because of you, because you never stopped praying, because you believed even when I did not." Emma smiled. "The Virgin Mary listens, Mom. I told you." Jessica nodded. "You were right, baby. You were right all along. That winter was still hard. Money was still tight." Jessica still worked long hours, but she was not drowning anymore. She was breathing, surviving, even thriving in small ways. She joined a Bible study group at the church. She made friends with other single mothers. She found community, support, people who understood, people who cared. One evening in January, 3 months after the incident, Jessica received a call from the police. "Mrs. Morgan, this is Officer Davis. I was one of the officers at the scene of the sinkhole incident in November. I wanted to let you know that the engineers completed their investigation." Jessica's heart sank. Was someone hurt? Did another car? No, nothing like that. But they found something interesting. The sinkhole was caused by a massive underground cavern that had been eroding for decades. The engineers said that, based on their analysis, the collapse was imminent. It was going to happen that day. But here is the thing. They cannot explain why it collapsed at that exact moment. Their calculations show it should have happened several minutes earlier or several minutes later, but it collapsed at the precise second it needed to in order for you to see it and stop, as if someone timed it perfectly. Jessica felt chills, as if someone timed it. Officer Davis continued, "I do not know if you are religious, Mrs. Morgan, but I have been doing this job for 23 years, and I have seen a lot of accidents, a lot of tragedies, and I have seen a handful of miracles. What happened to you that day, that was a miracle, pure and simple. There is no other explanation. Someone wanted you and your children to live, and they made sure you did." Jessica thanked him and hung up. She walked to her bedroom, where she kept a small statue of Mary on her nightstand. She had bought it the week after the incident. She knelt beside the bed like Emma did every night, and she prayed. Thank you for saving my children. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for loving us, even when I stopped loving you. Thank you for the miracle. Thank you for my life. Thank you for everything." Life continued. The kids grew. Emma turned 9. Lucas started kindergarten. Olivia learned to walk and talk. Jessica still struggled. Bills were still hard. Work was still exhausting. But she was not alone, and she knew it. Every morning she would wake up, and the first thing she did was pray. "Good morning, Mary. Thank you for this day. Help me be the mother my children need. Help me be strong. Help me trust. Help me believe." And every night before bed she prayed again. "Thank you for today. Thank you for my children. Thank you for keeping us safe. I trust you. I love you. Amen." Jessica started sharing her story. She told friends. She told people at church. She told other struggling single mothers. Some believed her immediately. Some were skeptical. But everyone agreed on one thing. Jessica was different now, stronger, more peaceful, more joyful, despite her circumstances. People asked her how she did it, how she managed to stay positive when life was so hard, and Jessica would smile and say, "I do not do it alone. I have help. I have the Virgin Mary watching over me." And once you know that, once you really know that you are loved and protected by the Mother of God, everything changes. You are still tired, still broke, still overwhelmed. But you are not drowning. You are walking on water. And she is holding your hand the whole way. 2 years after the incident, Jessica met someone, a good man, a kind man, a man who loved her children as his own. They married in St. Catherine's Church in front of the statue of Mary. Jessica carried a bouquet of white roses. During the ceremony, she looked at the statue and silently said, "Thank you. Thank you for everything, for saving us, for bringing me back, for giving me this beautiful life I do not deserve." The statue, of course, did not respond. But Jessica felt it, that presence, that warmth, that love. She was there, always there. Jessica still tells the story to anyone who will listen. She tells it at church events. She tells it to her children so they will never forget. She tells it to strangers who need hope. And every time she tells it, she says the same thing at the end. "I do not know why the Virgin Mary chose to save us that day. I was not faithful. I was not praying. I had given up. But she had not given up on me. She heard my daughter's prayers. She saw my struggle. And at the exact moment when I needed her most, she was there. She spoke, and I listened. And because I listened, my 3 children are alive today. They are here. They are healthy. They are happy. And I am grateful every single day for the voice that told me to stop, for the miracle that saved us, for the mother who never stops watching over her children. Emma is 13 now. She still prays every night with her rosary. She wants to be a doctor. Lucas is 10. He plays soccer and loves video games. Olivia is 6. She starts first grade this year, and Jessica is 36. Still a single mother for now, though she is dating someone wonderful, still working hard, still struggling sometimes. But she is not the same woman who heard that voice 4 years ago. She is stronger, happier, more faithful, more alive. Because she knows now, with absolute certainty, that she is loved, that she is protected, that she is never alone. And that knowledge changes everything. Before we finish, I want to invite you to join our prayer community for the Virgin Mary, a space of faith and hope where people from all over the world come together to pray and share the graces they have received. If you feel in your heart the desire to be part of this chain of prayer, click below and become a member of the channel today. Come pray with us. And if you made it this far to the end of Jessica's story, do one thing for me. Write in the comments, "Stop the car now," the 4 words that saved 3 innocent lives and changed everything. I want to see how many hearts this story truly touched. And every time I read "Stop the car now" in the comments, I will know that one more person believes that the miracles of the Virgin Mary still happen. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Share this video with someone who needs to renew their hope today. May the Virgin Mary continue to bless and protect you and your family. Amen.